Yeah, hello, hello, and hello. Yeah, so this is Adebayo once again. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, more so because this is our first webinar in 2024, and we're excited about this opportunity again to do something great. Right, so we are just going to take the next few minutes to welcome everyone in the audience. Today we're live on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So please let us meet you. Tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. That will be so great. We'd like to meet you. Yeah, please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining us from. Okay, so if you're joining us on LinkedIn, I'd like to meet you. Tell us your name. Tell us what part of Nigeria you're joining us from. Viewers who are from other countries, um, even as to that, our speaker for the day is ready, and I am just so excited. So my name is Adebayo once again, Adebayo Lomaja. If you're meeting me for the first time, I'm the head of research and chief learning designer at EAZY-DIGI. We are an education consulting organization um, that uses research, technology, and networking to transform education in Africa. And when we do our webinars, we see our webinars as a network event. So you get to meet people that have done amazing things, that have information, the information you need to take what you're doing, even as an education leader or an education professional, right? So we are big on that, and that's why we do the webinars that we do. That's our thinking, the webinars and the conferences we do. We do different kind of virtual events, but that's the idea. We see them as networking events. So yeah, so you can see this as a networking opportunity, a rare one for that matter, um, because of the guests we have on today's show. So again, okay, let me try and check in from my phone to see who's in. Like to meet you. Tell us your name and tell us where you're joining us from. Okay, great. Persons who have joined us from heaven, the numbers are rising. So tell us your name, please, and tell us where you're joining from. We would love to meet you. Um, okay, so we are looking at a very important topic, right? And that's addressing the gap between the digital economy in Nigeria and the K to 12 education landscape, right? There is a gap. And what is this all about? Right. We know that right now in Nigeria, last year, if you've been following our webinars, last we're talking about redesigning education in Nigeria for national development. So we're still in the line of that thought, redesigning education in Nigeria for national development. And then we're saying that we need to redesign a whole education experience to address our core challenges as a nation. And then we talked about the LEDI framework, leadership, entrepreneurship, digital literacy, and innovation as four core skills that our education should address, should produce in every Nigerian child. Every Nigerian child needs these four skills. Nationally, from what we see, there's a deficit of these four powerful skills that needs to be addressed. So we started talking about that. We had a lot of sessions where we were looking at practically how can we design that kind of learning? How can we create that kind of learning experience, right? That will practically offer these skills to every Nigerian child. How is that going to happen? And right now we are now talking about the gap that does exist between the digital economy in Nigeria and the K-12 landscape, right? Physically, it might look like Nigeria is not growing. It might look like a lot of things are wrong with the country, But one thing that many people do that when we talk about the digital economy in Nigeria, it is thriving, it is growing. In fact, it is one of the top thriving, digital ecosystem we have in Africa, right? So there's what we call the Big Four. This is the biggest, four African countries who have enjoyed the highest investment in technology and who are doing so well when it comes to that regard. So Nigeria is one of these big four, right? I know when I was going through the Tech About report, I was saying that I think towards Q4 last year, I think Nigeria got the lowest investments among the big fours or so. But however, one thing is very, very key and very, very real: the fact that the digital economy in Nigeria has been thriving and thriving so well in that regard. And the thing is this, that's like a world of its own. So the kind of jobs, the kind of roles that we talk about in that world is unique. That world is evolving. There's several trends, right, that we need to see. That world is asking for certain things that if you are an education leader, you need to prepare your students for. That world is asking for certain skills, certain knowledge, and certain competencies that if you are an education professional, you need to know, right? And like I always say, you cannot prepare your students for a world that you do not know, that you do not understand. So it's very important, right, that you understand what that world looks like. What's the digital economy in Nigeria like? What is it asking for? So every education leader today, every education professional today in Nigeria, you are responsible for building the workforce, for raising the workforce that will sustain the digital economy in Nigeria, right? If it's going to continue thriving, then there has to be, it's going to be like an evolution. A new generation is coming in to take it to the next level, right? So we as educators, in the K-12 landscape, we are responsible for raising that workforce. And this is very technical. This is very, very technical. And that's why you see we are trying to bring those two words together, right? I believe that education needs to shift into what I call the partnership age. There has to be a strong partnership between K-12, between K-12 education and and other industries, right? In the global in the industrial ecosystem. Education is a sector that needs to be more knitted, more partner with other sectors so that the gaps are really filled up, right? So that education, as it were, is strongly driving the growth of every other sector that does exist, right? And that is why we are here. That is why we're having this conversation, right? And I am so, so glad and so, so honored. Today, we are so, so honored and so, so fortunate to have this person with us here today. I'm going to spend just a little moment to read. Again, please, I'd like to meet you. I know I can see like 11 persons have joined from LinkedIn. Please tell us your name and tell us where you're joining from. We would like to meet you. Um, I'd like to meet you. In the meantime, I'm just going to quickly read, introduce you to our speaker for today, and then we'll move into. It's going to be very conversational, right? I'm going to be asking him a lot of questions, right? So, and it's going to be sharing quite a lot of insight with us. Okay, so real quick, so Olanrewaju is the head Tech About Insight, um, um, called TC Insight. Those of us that received their mails know what that means, and it's Pioneer team lead. So Tech About Insight provides data, research, and insight to guide stakeholders invested in creating Africans' prosperity. The organization helps development finance institutions, that's DFIs, and NGOs, state governments, global tech brands, and African startups to understand and solve critical challenges within the digital economy. It's also affiliated with Tech Cabal, as the leading publication on African innovation and technology. Both Tech Cabal Insights and Tech Cabal are owned by big Cabal Media. Olanrewaju has put together several reports. Yeah, I can personally testify to that about Africa's technology industry, covering topics such as fintech and health tech, health tech, is client projects within the private and public sector. He has about 8 years of experience in Nigeria's digital economy sector. He holds an MBA in data visualization from the University of Arts, London. Ladies and gentlemen, Um, it is my honor once again to bring to this stage our speaker for today, in the person of Olanrewaju Odunwo. Yeah, hi Olanrewaju, can you hear me? Okay, let's take over the
Yes,
chat
I
overlay.
can. Hello. How's it going, Adebayo?
Yeah, yeah, very well, very well, very well, very well, very well.
Are you
Thank you so much
good?
once again. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks once again for sharing your time with us in this edition of this webinar. I
yeah.
really cannot wait to hear what you have to. But first of all, let me just allow you to if you might want to just share one or two things with the audience, just to introduce yourself to the audience. I know I've read this, but if you might just want to say one or two things about yourself to the audience.
No, thank you. I spent the last 5 years just looking at data, providing research, focused on Africa's data economy, ranging across different topics, fintech, edtech, just whole 9 years. So pretty much, um, helping organizations answer specific questions, but even also providing data to inform program design and projects for government and NGOs as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much the summary of, of the work that I do.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. That's great. Okay, so we are just going to get into this. I know. So when I read a number of reports from Tekaba, I see that we have various parts. There's fintech, there's health tech, there's ed tech, there's agri tech, there's clean tech. I know there are a lot of them. And again, these for me, these are important words. These are vocabularies that our teachers should know about them, because you cannot really just push them aside. These are the words of our times as well. So, Olanrewaju, start by letting us in into the digital ecosystem in Africa, in Nigeria. What does it mean? What does it really mean? So, teachers, school owners are here. They are listening to us. They're hearing about the digital economy, and they want to know what does that mean and what does it looks like right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a very simple way to look at data economy. I think the key thing is just think about digital, right? And digital covers things like the internet, covers things like electronic transactions, so pretty much looking at the economic activities that are driven by all of these things that I mentioned. So whether it's payments, whether it's even education, a lot of people are learning these days from Coursera and Udemy and even other learning platforms. And there are even local equivalents as well for some of these platforms. I know we were speaking earlier today about Gridley. I think that's more like a school school system, you know, as well. So yeah, so just the data economy is pretty much like um, all the economic activities that are driven by technology, by internet, and even electronic transactions, pretty much. In terms of what it looks like today, digital economy in Nigeria has come a very long way. I think the last data from NBS digital economy, if you just specifically look at the ICT sector, contributed about 16% to to Nigeria's GDP. And
mm,
when you try to calculate that number, that's almost $11 billion actually.
mm,
And this is
mm,
aside from the VC funding that is coming into the sector. I was looking at a report earlier today from one of the leading VCs, Patek, and it was about $3 billion. That investors um, put into the African fintech sector. Personally, just from our own perspective at Tech About Insights, we are tracking over $2 billion, dollars of this money and investment coming into the sector. And if you look at technology, it has influenced how we do things. I mean, many of us can remember, how banking used to be back in the day, over the years. I think that's the easiest way actually to just think about digital economy.
mm.
How was bank back in the day, and what does it look like today? I remember the last time I went to get my card from GTB, and I was so excited that I didn't have to, um, go behind the counter, wait for like a week. That was the very first time. But the last time I got my card, I pretty much just entered my details into a machine and we printed it. So that's pretty much like how to think about data economy, how to think about the progress that has been made. The goal is how can we do things more efficiently, how can we do
Mm,
things faster, and we've
mm,
seen that progress, you know, um, in Nigeria as well.
mm. Amazing, amazing. Allow me to re-echo a number of things. Ola, what you just mentioned to us that from what they are tracking, about $2 billion is going to be coming into Nigeria, right? From I don't know if I got that right.
I said last year actually, as at 2023, end of
Okay.
2023, more than $2 billion
Yes,
was invested in
dollars.
um, African tech industry
Mm,
in
mm.
terms of
So
VC money.
amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, just so much keeps coming into that. Souls coming into that, and you can imagine. I know that because the digital economy in Nigeria is not dependent on naira. It's not driven by naira. The support, the funding, and the whole thing that's coming in is we're talking about dollars, and that's why it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Okay, so Olanrewaju, I'm sure that our listeners are interested in knowing about these various parts of the digital economy, the edtech, the fintech. Can you just try to like mention a number of them, and and what it looks like in those various tech sectors?
Okay, thank you. I think the number of sectors is pretty much a long list. The reason is because tech is able, or technology or innovation is able to influence any sector. As long as
Mm,
um, you're seeking more efficient way of doing things within that sector, there's a very huge likelihood that you can find a more innovative way to do stuff. Technology, whether it's the internet, whether it's digital devices, all of those things are able to bring change within any sector. Now, personally, I would look at this. I would look at this from like five broad categories in terms of what it looks like, or
okay,
like the different
okay.
angles that we can think about this from. And it's really from a World Bank report. I think the first thing is just looking at digital infrastructure. Think about broadband. Think about um, think about mobile networks, and all of those things. One of the very good things that has happened over time is we've seen more investment in that area. I remember when Main One, launched years ago, and it's probably one of like the fastest, among others, more like the fastest internet like connections that were available at that time, and even today, arguably, you know, um, and it's pretty much influenced. how the state of the digital economy in Nigeria today. We have other solutions in the market as well, but that's just one of the ones that came to mind, actually, because it was very influential um, in shaping the work that was done along like the Yaba Tech area. I know me one worked with CCUp, for example, to lay cable there and continue to work with other people. So, but my point is digital infrastructure is very key, and we've seen that grow over time. You know, um, we've seen organizations like Facebook, like Google, also looking, doing some work in that area as well. I think the other thing is digital platforms, just pretty much looking at um, things like digital identity. I think that's very critical. We all
mm,
know, we are all very familiar with BVN and NIN, and how those two, means of being able to identify ourselves, have helped financial services providers, for example, especially in the fintech industry, to build on top of that, because they need a way to
mm,
identify
mm.
people, and without something like BVN, for example, it'd be very difficult to identify who is doing what transaction. So
Mm,
those, even though the process might have seemed very stressful at the time, but they're very useful, and kind of signify progress in terms of how far we've come from digital economy perspective. There's also digital financial services. There's a lot to say in this area. There's a lot to say because financial services has evolved. I gave the example of me getting my debit card, or what we popularly call ATM card, and how that process has changed over time.
yeah.
It's all to the work that digital financial services providers are doing. We also know the evolution of having to start behind the counter to withdraw, from a bank, to today where you have like mobile money agents, or people with um, POS services, where you can just walk 2 minutes outside of your house and you're able to collect cash. So that's also advancement that has happened. A lot of these things might
Mm,
look easy from the outside, but all of these are years of work that details
yeah.
of that fintechs have done
Yeah.
over time. There's also digital entrepreneurship, and that looks at things like VC, looks at the several other sectors, um, whether it's edtech, whether it's health technology. There's work going on in that area as well. I know organizations that are trying to make it easier to access health insurance. So you just access health insurance
Mm,
from an app. Some of those solutions already exist as well. Um,
mm.
and there are several other solutions in different sectors.
Amazing.
Digital skills as well is a very big one. I mean, the government just launched 3MTT, which is a very big, talent program to train young people in the country to get their technical skills. And they're looking to continue to scale that. But even before that, we had
Yeah.
several organizations training young people to code, way back, starting one of the most popular ones, Zandela. But even before that, we had like several organizations providing trainers. Now, these are the areas or five key pillars, where we've seen, but also these five key pillars are very crucial to the digital economy in terms of just progress over time.
Powerful, powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Five key pillars. That's amazing. Um, okay, so real quick, what are the remarkable breakthroughs that we have seen in the Nigerian digital economy in the last 5 years? If you can touch on just about two of them, two of the remarkable
Yeah,
breakthroughs that we have seen in the last 5 years in the Nigerian digital.
okay. Two. Two. I had like a whole list. Um,
Yeah,
I
yes,
think. Yeah, I think there's been quite a number. One of the key ones is just the innovation around like instant payments. You know, and we take it for granted. You know, where you send somebody money and they get it almost within an hour or even less. You know, there are many countries where
mm,
you don't get the thing until 4 hours later. But a lot of that is because of the work
mm,
that the NIBSS, um, has done in Nigeria. So if you don't know what the NIBSS means, it's the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, you know, and
mm,
it's pretty much like put together um, is brought together the different banks, just coordinating in that regard to facilitate like online real time payment. It's a whole technology. It looks easy, but that's really one big thing in terms of just technology breakthrough um, in the
yeah,
country. And the other one is really just looking at the progression of e-commerce, and how payment has progressed over time. One of the earliest um, payment platforms was InterSwitch WebPay. Other people are very familiar, or were familiar with that back in the day. I mean, they've sort of evolved it and upgraded it over time. But back in the day, it was revolutionary because it enabled you to make payments on e-commerce platforms. And at that time, many e-commerce um, e-commerce websites that were launching, had to integrate InterSuite web-based solution, to enable them to collect payment. And then we saw that evolution into sort of like Paystack, where it became really
mm,
more innovative. Payment became
yeah,
quicker, integration
mm,
into your e-commerce solution was quicker. And yeah, I think if I was going to mention like just progress, those are two of the things that I would mention. And I realize that both of those things are in the financial services sector, but it's been very critical to build out financial services because I mean money makes the world go round in terms of just you need that to be able to build other things on top of it. Um,
mm, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, thanks for that, Olarinwaju. The third question here. So what kind of jobs do we see across the Nigerian digital economy today? So in terms of current and emerging roles that are available.
yeah, thank you. I think I'll start from the most popular ones. Obviously
Hmm.
software developers and software engineers. Um,
Mm,
these days, we're seeing a lot of data scientists and analysts. A lot. That sector we see a lot of people, in trying to acquire those like the skills, and it's crucial because there's been a rise in demand for data scientists and data analysts. So it makes sense that young
mm,
people are trying to gain skills in that area. But we've also seen
mm,
things like product managers, digital marketing specialists, UI UX designers. I think just looking at the future, or even in the last 1 year, AI specialists are also becoming very, very crucial.
mm,
Cloud solutions specialists, cloud solutions architects, very, very crucial as well. If you look into the crypto and blockchain sector, blockchain developers, we have a few AR virtual reality developers, even though um, that is not gaining as much traction yet because commercialization has not been quite um,
mm.
yeah, has not been quite successful even on the global scale. Um, so so yeah, but we do have a few people in that regard as well. But if I was just going to mention the top ones, they're the ones that I mentioned before. software developers, data scientists, analysts, product managers, UI UX designers, AI specialists. Very, very crucial. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. We'll get into the cruise of this conversation. So now, Olanwaju, what are the now? Let's. I know for school owners, that have been listening to us, some of them might be like, well, these things. But now let's bring it home for them. What are the five most important skills that schools should focus on teaching their students today to
Mhm.
prepare them for easy entrance into the digital economy? What are those five most important skills that you think that right now across our mainstream K-12 system we need to bring it in early enough for students that school should focus on?
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. No, thank you very much. I think the key thing in terms of just like the very first thing is even to introduce young people to digital literacy, and that's pretty much in terms of allow them, you know, interact with computers. That's the very first thing. Allow them use digital tools, use digital platforms, incorporate it into as much of your work as you can. One of the key things is um, you could give them assignments that requires them to conduct internet research. That way they
Hmm.
familiarize themselves with how they use the internet, for example. You could also
Hmm.
even give them work that allows them to do some data analysis.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be something complex. It's just ask them to go and look for this information or this data, and then maybe um, try to share what insights they gleaned from looking at it. You know,
Hmm.
um, so yeah, so that's pretty much what I would say is as much as you can allow the children start to interact with digital tools, with
Hmm.
computers, with the internet. Um, yeah, I think that's very very allow them observe, how digital tools are influencing their day to day life. I
Hmm.
think that's very crucial. The second thing is just critical thinking and problem solving. It's something that we should definitely we should definitely um, we should definitely we should definitely incorporate into our um, curriculum. And one of the things um, that some schools or just the Nigerian education sometimes lack is just the act of critical thinking. We need to be able to allow our young people evaluate, both sides of the argument. They don't have to pick a particular side or one answer. You
Hmm.
understand? Like we shouldn't
Hmm.
shut them down.
Hmm.
We shouldn't shut them down. Um, yeah, so it's just looking at all sides of the argument and being able to make a case for both sides.
Hmm.
Critical thinking is something that is very, very, very important. Problem solving as well, but those go hand in hand. And one of the ways to teach young people critical thinking and problem solving skills is through coding and programming. There are a
Hmm.
lot of like coding platforms or coding tools that are age appropriate. Whether it's Scratch Junior, whether it's Raspberry Pi, um, you know, the one that I use is code.org.
Hmm.
So just as much as possible, try to introduce young people to coding early, not because you want them to become programmers per se, but just
Yeah.
because one, you want to expose them to digital economy and digital literacy skills.
Hmm.
Also, you want to sharpen their um, their critical thinking and problem solving skills.
Yeah.
One of the very critical things is that it doesn't necessarily have to be You can also do it without a computer or a digital device. There are offline activities
Yeah.
that you can carry out that teach young people, just logical thinking and creativity. We should incorporate all of those. And then there are other things as well, like communication, collaboration, very important collaboration. Let's get them to understand teamwork, work in groups,
Mm,
because
mm,
a lot of the work that is done, in terms of just building software is requires working in groups many times.
yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to teach people to collaborate by sometimes give them group work to do
Mm,
and work
mm,
together. Um, the final thing is just teaching our kids how to learn, how to find information and learn,
mm.
because the digital economy is moving very fast. Technology is moving very, very fast. We need to teach young people to be able to adapt and move you know, alongside that
Mm.
as well. So, yeah, thank you. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, yeah, very helpful, very helpful. Yeah, you've said, but we've reached a number of powerful points that I just want to take some time to open them up, one by one. I can, I love the first point when you talk about, um, um, allowing these students to build their data analysis skills even early enough, giving them that kind of assignment that requires, going online and having to like check various reports. I can imagine that I'm a teacher, and then in my classroom I bring in, let's say, tech about reports on the various tech sectors and how they've been growing in the last 5 years, and they're probably looking at that graph and they're seeing how they're moving, and from that graph, they're trying to make some arguments and say, okay, so this particular sector has been growing this way, and then they've done some research to find out why that particular sector has been growing that way. This particular sector has been, there's been a dip, um, you know and then they're trying to find out, oh, why is that happening, and why is it like that, and I think that those kind of assignments, and again, these are the things we're talking about. We need to redefine what we call assignment. So those kind of assignments are more authentic. They give these students an opportunity to connect with real world, all right, as against those things in the textbook. Right, those things in the textbooks are so disconnected. It doesn't speak to the reality and the world of these kids, of these students. But imagine that they are doing an assignment, and then as a teacher, I'm asking them to go check after. I think I checked. There's some companies that shut down. Some companies shut down last year. Okay, I know. I think Okada Books. Can you help me? Do you
Yeah,
know one or two other companies that shut down last year?
yeah, we had a couple of companies shut down. I think one other one was um, Vivo, I believe, last
Mm-hmm.
year, but there was yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
quite a
so, so
number.
yeah. So imagine if they're picking like three of them, and then let's say we're doing a particular topic, and then that just involves something that touches that particular area, and these kids are going to do their research and then coming with various findings, and I think that this is how early enough we are raising an army of young people who understand what is going on, right? Who can interact with today's world, who understand today's world, they can interact, and in that place of interacting again, they can then begin to build passion, they can then begin to empathize, they can begin to build concern. But when there's a large disconnection, when all they do in their classroom is only math, English, physics, chemistry, biology, and those things, and it's about getting them to just quickly finish the syllabus and do an exam, and the contents are not presented in that kind of manner, we keep disconnecting them, and that way again we keep delaying their opportunity to start preparing, to enter into that world easily. So I think it's so powerful when you cite that instance of data analysis and that regard, and then also the issue of critical thinking and problem solving. I think that's very, very huge. That's very huge because in the textbooks, in the world of instructional design, in the textbooks, the only thing we see that they are just simple problems. So at the end of the day, the answer has to either be A or B, or the answer has to
Yeah,
be But really, when we look at what we do, what happens in the tech world, the kind of problems we are dealing with, like it's like
Mhm.
it's, it's like
No,
it's like that's not what really problem looks
there's
like.
no there's no one single way to solve a problem many
Yeah,
times,
yeah,
when you're dealing with so rebuilding things like software
yeah,
solutions.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of experience, and to our audience, please, would like to hear from you. Please feel free to share your thoughts. I can see a number of comments here. Thank you so much, Oluwatosin, Doctor Ajishafe. Thank you for engaging. You are really saying a lot of things that make sense here, right? Yeah, yeah. So Oluwatosin says, yeah, programming and coding needs to be offered away from computer science, taught as a curriculum in secondary schools. Yeah, a lot of enrichment programs can be done that leaves room for creativity and innovation. Absolutely. I know that we have the traditional barriers. Yes, they do exist. I know teachers will tell you, hey, but one thing we have discovered is that in spite of the traditional barriers, we can begin to integrate these things into what we do in the classroom. In spite of the traditional barriers, we can begin to think about what we are doing from this light, right? So whatever it is you're doing, your biology teacher, your science teacher, can you always think about these skills first? And not what you want to teach in the classroom. Because if you think about what you want to teach in the classroom, the scheme and not the skills. If you think about the scheme, first of all, you're going to be tempted, and you're going to be pushed to that corner where all you want to do is to just get those notes and pour them to those students. But if you think about the skills before the scheme, the skills for work before the scheme of work, you're going to see that the kind of activities that you are bringing, that you're having, the kind of activities that you are introducing to your plan or to your learning design is going to involve certain things that will promote those skills while you still bear the scheme in mind, right? But we just have to prioritize the skills beyond the scheme, because the scheme is outdated. But the skills that the world is asking for today, we need to give these skills that opportunity to start learning them early enough, and that's what Olaniwaju is trying to help us see right here. Um, Staying in that world and seeing what happens every now and then, and seeing what happens every day. Um, want to have a generation of young people who are building startups that are going to last, right? Startups that are not going to shut down early enough. And so the startups that are shutting down, why is it happening? Why? Olanraju, do you agree that the digital economy should become a subject in our curriculum? We should have it as a subject, the digital economy, that we're teaching all the way from year one through to year 12. What do you say about that?
Um, I mean, I think we can definitely. I know some schools already teach ICT, you know, but yeah, we can definitely teach digital economy alongside. Just a clarification in terms of shutdowns. There's no one single. I mean, the biggest reason has been, the difficult macro economic environment, and also
Mm,
some micro. Some of it, a few of them are co-founder issues, like in the case of Google, based on the information that we have, But
mm,
yeah, it's been a tough 1 year in you know in for the data economy. But then again, this is why
mm,
we do need things like problem solving. So I face this challenge.
mm, mm,
How do I move from here? And sometimes for some of these companies, their very logical solution is to shut it down because. But then again, you have to be able to make that call. You have to be able to
mm,
decide that's the thing to do at that time after exploring other options. You know, so yeah, so it's really an important thing in terms of just the skills we need to empower our young people with is um,
yeah.
critical thinking and problem solving skills. I have found that one of the biggest um, success factors is really exposing them as early as possible to like
As early as possible. Mm,
reach out,
mm,
exposing them as early as possible. That's a difference. If you've observed or ever interacted with the education education system in in developed nations, you realize that that is really one of the major differences. Is young
Mm,
people, get exposed to all of the digital tools and platforms very early, and they're able to
mm,
interact with it and make use of it. So that's something that we should really, really keep in mind. Um, if we can
yeah,
send our children to the library, to use the internet to do some research, obviously with some of the privacy and security safeguards, so that they don't
yeah,
go to the pages
yeah,
they're not supposed to go to, but yeah, that's something that is very important.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then you also talked about co-work with people. I know that this is a big deal as well. Working as a growth manager in an edtech company in Nigeria, I really do know that this one is a big deal as well. You know, and sometimes the way it's being talked about in K-12 is not the way it is in real life, and that's some of the things that bothers me. That's one of the reasons why I decided to go into the tech world. I mean, actively, and also still stay in education, and because I've seen that gap, I've seen that wide gap. So when we talk about collaboration, right, the way teachers think about collaboration and the way they try to teach it is actually not the way it is in real life, because you have a team of people, from the project manager to the everybody is trying to work together towards getting an app out, given a particular deadline, right? So we want the app to be out by this time, and then let's say we're doing sprint, and we're trying to like we're doing sprint planning. We're trying to break things down, and we're trying to get through and get by, and then the tech team and the product team, they are meeting with the product marketing team. They're getting feedback, and they are like it's more complex than the way it's been painted or it's been talked about in the school environment. And that leaves me worried again. And so, if we think about practically, just like you're saying, what it means that we should have things like giving the students an opportunity to work on projects with students from other parts of the world, to work on projects with students from other schools around. um, uh, you know um, so imagine that they have to work on a particular project, and they have to meet new set of people, and not the same people they are seeing in the classroom every day. That kind of experience, and then they are coming with their finding, they are getting feedback from the other team, they are comparing and contrasting, they're meeting together, having to like agree on something, and then move forward from that place again. I think that model, that shape, that atmosphere is very, very important, so that we can say that really we are building young people that will know how to collaborate. Like what you're talking about, Olarinwaju. Some of the reasons why some companies shut down is maybe co-founder issues. You know, not really, not really having the capacity to work with people when it gets to the place of problems, not having that level of resilience, that level of agility. I need to say, oh no, I want to go through this. I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. This is getting beyond me. Let's cut this off. You know, seeing that the place of rest, not even the kind of complex world we live in today. The economic landscape is getting more complex, and a lot of resilience is needed to really thrive in the times that we live in. So looking at
Yeah,
collaboration from that place of resilience, not from the place of maybe they are just staying in group and just doing something simple, and then because we really cannot use that kind of thing to prepare them for what we are dealing with in this economy. So I think it's a very big one. It's a very big one. The place of collaboration.
yeah. I think just to add to it, I think there are actually two things to note about collaboration. I think one of the things is to understand that some of the world's most difficult problems, we you can no one single person can solve
Yeah,
those
yeah,
problems
I like that. I
alone.
like that. I like that. Ola Roger, I
It
like that.
requires multiple people working together.
Mm,
You know, the other thing as well is just our young people learning, collaboration is also about learning from other people,
mm,
and I like the example you gave about working with even younger people across, you know, across um, across the borders. So like abroad, beyond their country,
Yeah.
they can learn about their cultures. They can learn about the world. They
Mm.
pick up new skills from one another. So collaboration is really about the this. No one person has all the answers. No one person can solve all the problems. No one person has all the
Yeah.
skills in the world. You can leverage on
Mm.
skills to solve certain parts. I think we need to begin to incorporate in you know this into our curriculum because education can be sometimes the way we do it is very individualistic. Well,
Mm.
yes,
Mm.
you're first, which is good because it helps it helps young people to um yeah to be competitive. Um
Mm.
Even though we need to make it positive. But also we need to be able to teach them to work with other people, to collaborate,
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
to build solutions, to work together. It's a very crucial skill.
Yeah.
It's a very crucial skill for
Mm.
people.
Mm. 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 Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for this, and thank you for touching on that part, that individualistic nature of what our education system looks like. It seems as that is not helping us to discover the power, the capacity of our young people, because the system, the narrative is just work in silos, be the best, get the best grade, and just get an award. And so that power, like you said, the biggest innovations, the biggest products, and in the universe were a product of people coming together. And maybe that might be the reason why we're not yet seeing so many innovations in Africa. Some unique innovations, right? Because of that narrative. So this is saying to us as education leaders and professionals that we need to rethink, our designs. We need to rethink our designs. That narrative of that, yes, competition is important. We even compete in the this economy, but collaboration is more important than competition, right? I mean, I think I still saw Microsoft and Vodafone. I saw one partnership thing with them. So I was going through. Let me go through that. I was going through my TC daily, my Tech Cabal Insight daily, and I think I saw two companies where they. Yeah, I think I saw OPay and one other company that just forged the partnership. Let me check that right now.
But I think you meant TC Daily, Tech About Daily.
Yeah, Tech Cabal daily. Yeah, I saw, I saw that OPay and one company like that just partnered together to. Oh, I need to find this. I need to find this. Was saying this, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm there. Yes, InterSwitch and OPay partners up. I don't know what they are cooking, but I don't know. But I know there's been a lot of competition in that regard. Money Point, the recent development from Money Point, switching into uh, 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 going into that OPay domain and OPay, PAMPay, and those PPP domain. Money Point 2 entering into that competition with them. I know everybody's trying to sell, they can brace up and maintain their share in the market. And I guess that's why it's coming up. InterSwitch and OPay partners up. Right. But that's what we see. What we're seeing in real life is a lot of collaboration to keep thriving, a lot of collaboration to keep growing, a lot of collaboration to expand horizon, a lot of collaboration to get more revenue. But what are we seeing in our K-12 education? Oh, I seeing a lot of individualistic approach, and that's cutting. Yeah, there has to be a balance. But what we are saying from this conversation is that there really has to be a strong balance. There really has to be a strong balance. Are we asking our students in our classroom, right, to break into groups and to look at their society, to look at their immediate society, and look out for problems that they might be interested in solving? Are we bringing real problems into the classroom, or we're only talking about paper problems? That's what I call them. I call them paper problems. They are not real problems. Are we bringing real problems into the classroom? Are we asking the students because they've got the capacity? I mean, Olanwaju, there's this boy, this year 11 boy, is a Nigerian, but he schools in Canada. I know he posted something on LinkedIn a few days ago. I had to repost it. It was like, oh, this weekend, I really want to challenge myself. I want to work on building a GPT powered app, right? That's going to do ABC. So just think about that. A year 11 student thinking about challenging himself to build that kind of thing, right? So if every year 11, if our high school in Nigeria across board, right, is embraces this kind of narrative, and what these teenagers, because we're seeing teenagers becoming entrepreneurs these days, for our teenagers in that space, that's what we see them doing. Imagine teenagers coming forward to start thinking in that direction. That means that in the next 5 years, the digital economy in Nigeria is going to like be doing what we're seeing right now. And if it's going to be doing times two, times three, and like you said, Olanwaju, it means that they have to like start early enough, early enough, early enough, early enough. We need a K-12 version of the 3MTT, the 3MMTT program. We need a K-12 version of it. We need a version of it that is for those in the secondary school, right? That is catching them early enough so that by the time they are coming out of secondary school, they're already so empowered, like they are ready. They're already they have their startups already. They are looking for funds already to drive it. And I think intrinsic wise, this is how we can also begin to help our economy, as a country, because our advantage is our young people. So Nigeria has the youngest population in the world. Advantage are young people, and I think last time I checked, the median age of Nigeria is between 18 and 19, thereabout. So there's a great opportunity there. So if all our young people are wired and trained from their K to 12 experience in this regard, and so they are coming up with that potential, with that interest, with that concern, they want to contribute because the education they experience, right, did not disconnect them from the digital economy, open them up to that world, and so they've built a lot of passion to do something, right? And I think that this is how we're really going to move things forward. Okay, we need to go. We need to go. Thank you, Olaraju. You've shared a lot of powerful things. I wish we had more time to begin to like open them one by one. Our listeners are they want to like get more practical insight into those things, but time won't allow us. But before we go, there's one more question. This will be the last question. Um, so I know you are passionate about the education sector in Nigeria. So are there one or two more things you would like to say to every teacher that is listening right now? That is so important to what they are doing and their work. In also in line with what we've been saying.
Um, I think the key thing is, first of all, to appreciate teachers. Very, very
Yeah,
great work
yeah,
and important work that teachers are doing. You know, um, but also I will just ask teachers to embrace technology. To embrace technology in how they prepare, to teach their children,
mm,
but also in terms of how they deliver educational content.
mm,
Use Chat GPT. Just even sometimes you may not need them, just use them for the sake of trying them out to see how they
mm,
work, and
yeah,
constantly just be trying out or learning about the latest trends.
mm,
Because trust me, young people know these things. They probably
yeah,
play with ChatGPT on their parents' phones, on their friends' phones.
mm,
So embrace technology can sometimes be disruptive, seem like the enemy, but I I tell you, it's a friend. You should adapt to how could this technology help my work, and that's very, very crucial and important, you know, in in especially in the field of education.
mm, powerful. Powerful, powerful. Thank you so much, Olariwa. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing all of these things with us. This is really a good way for us to start it. For us as EasyDigi, we're excited that we're starting the year on this note. We're excited that we're starting the year, looking at the digital economy, and what that world looks like, and how we can also touch our education system from the foundation, from the grassroots, to sustain the progress we are seeing in that sector. There's a lot of progress in that sector. how the workforce that we sustain that, just preparing early enough. In Africa, it's not our thing. Like preparing for something that's going to happen in the next 10 years. So at EasyDigi, we are hoping to keep spreading this message and driving this narrative that we need to start preparing early enough. The digital economy is growing. It needs to continue growing. Where's the workforce that will keep it growing, right? So and take it to the next level, right? So we're excited about this conversation, and I'm really so I'm happy that you have shared all of these things with us about what's happening in the digital economy, the skills that schools should look out for, the skills that teachers should start teaching. Teachers have to be open, to technology and be willing to try and try and try and try new things. We know it's not easy for teachers. Um, you know, um, the money part of it and other things. But I do know that very soon there might be some things that will change things around, and teachers will even have some opportunities with technology, to also cushion, all of those kind of things. I know that the time will come that other tech sectors, will partner with schools, and we're going to see a new wave in what is happening in the education sector. It's been isolated for a long time, and for us at EasyDigi, we're also looking forward to a long-term partnership with tech about, like I was telling you before the event. I'm always very inspired every time I'm going through the reports that you share. I like how those graphs, those things, the visualization. I mean, it's always I'm so much in love with it, you know. And then we're looking forward to partnerships and other things that will help us do that kind of thing in the education sector, and just spreading more information in that regard. Thank you so much, Olanawaju. Thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right. So it's been an awesome time today. This is how we start the year, and then of course, like you can see, um, the awareness about the digital economy. All right. There is, as a teacher, if you haven't heard about that before, if you haven't paid attention to it, all right, you need to pay attention to it. The digital economy in Nigeria is a big deal. It's important to what happens in your classroom every day. So you can no longer teach as if it doesn't exist, right? You need to bring it into your conversation in the classroom almost every day. Why? Because it's a big deal for us as a country. It's a big deal for us as a nation, right? Remember, it's not just about you, right? It's about Nigeria. It's about this nation, right? Everything you do in your classroom has an impact on Nigeria as a country. You may not know, but that is the way it is, right? Every when we complain about our leaders in Nigeria, don't forget they were once students in the classroom. They were exposed to an education, right, that was void of some number of things, right, that we are seeing right now, and we do not want the coming generation to be void of. All right, and that's why we're addressing these things and we're bringing them to the table early enough. All right, so this is very important, right? So as you get into the classroom, you need to be more interested in digital economy, right? So we are going to be doing some more, of course, in our webinar series. We'll still keep talking about it. We'll be sharing a lot of articles in that regard about how you need to, embrace these, how this can influence what you do in your classroom. Practically, we're going to be sharing a lot of things, right? Thank you. Many thanks to everyone that has joined us today. And I'm going to give an award to the most active participant today. That is Oluwatosin Dokas. Thank you. All right. Just kept on engaging. Thank you for all of the comments. I couldn't read everything you posted, but they were really powerful insights and powerful things to really consider. All right. Yeah, our curriculum design departments in Ministry of Education have a lot of work to do. Absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, are the teachers trained to think that way, to ask students to look into their community? Yeah, so there's so much of work that needs to be done there, right? And even for us at EasyDigi, we're just trying to contribute to what's on ground and trying to hard to the quota. And so, again, we're excited about this. So for us at EasyDigi, please look out for more events from our end. And as we go today, I need to say one more thing before I go, right? Um, we have two powerful courses, right, that we have prepared for educators, for education leaders and professionals. We have two powerful courses, right? You do not want to miss this course. This course is going to empower you to take your delivery to the next level, either as an education leader or as an education professional. You're a teacher, in any school. The first one is how to design authentic learning in K to 12. Real learning for a reward. You want to be that exceptional teacher, right? That turns students into agents. You want to be that exceptional teacher that can design that kind of learning that produce high level outcomes. You need to take that course, right? I'm going to share the link. I'll put the link to the course, to the registration link in the comment section. Please look out for it and register for the course. And then this weekend, we're having a free course review where we run you through everything you will learn in that course. And the second one is a LinkedIn masterclass for education leaders. This one is for school owners, school directors. You want to take your business to the next level. All right. Globalization is a big deal, and there's so much advantage right there, and especially using a tool like LinkedIn to transform your school around. Right. That's going to be reviewed in that course. All right. Please look out for the link, register for these courses, and I look forward to seeing you join the free course review. So once again, my name is Adebayo, the head of research and chief learning designer at EAZY-DIGI. We have a lot of things to share with you this year. We have so many amazing stuffs for the Nigerian education sector this year. Please stay connected with us, and let's keep talking. Bye for now. I'll see you soon.